right now. Joining us, NBC Sports' Melissa Stark. She will be reporting from the sidelines as the Packers face the Cowboys this week on Sunday Night Football at 7:20 p.m. That's Central on NBC and Peacock. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Man, we're doing great.
Awesome.
And yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you've heard about this. I feel like it's been really undercovered. Did you know that Micah's coming?
Wait.
Yeah, Micah's coming back to Dallas for the first time since getting traded. I don't know if you've heard about that. Feels like it could be a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little something. It's funny. I wish I was talking to you guys later in the day because we're talking to him today this afternoon, so I cannot wait. You know, he's obviously already said a lot this week, and it was interesting what he said about sacking Dak. And, I know so much has been made of this. But, when you talk to these guys and, they can internalize and have something be so personal to them, but you really, at the end of the day, I mean, you don't want to get overhyped. You don't want to make it more than what it is. But how can you not in this instance, right? And then especially for the other guys, for a lot of the Cowboys, like Trayvon Diggs, I mean, this is his best friend,
Yeah.
It's a lot for not just Micah, but for a lot of them.
Yeah, that's actually, we were just kind of discussing that, Melissa. Have you gotten an inkling talking to people in the Cowboys locker room that they are hurt by the way that whole Micah situation went down?
For sure. I mean, I would say Trayvon would be the most. I mean,
Yeah.
Trayvon talks to him every day, and Trayvon, said not only are we losing an incredible football player, but I was crushed. I'm losing my best friend, who he loved from day one. He just thought he had the it factor, which he does. And Trayvon said, I saw a lot of myself in him. And so, I mean, I think the fans are so dialed in to the competition and the game and who wins and everything, but they forget that there's really a personal aspect to all of this. I mean, you see when coaches get fired, right? And fans are, say good riddance. But to all of this, that's families moving. There's a lot. It's lifestyle changes. It's everything. It's a lot. It's not just part of the business. You forget that these are real human beings, right? When it comes down to it.
Oh yeah.
Now, I know we're focused on Cowboys-Packers, but I'm still kind of reeling from the Packers losing to the Browns. This is a team that in the first 2 weeks, man, the Packers look ready to just take over, and then they lose to a Browns team that I know their defense is good, but it does not feel like they're particularly well respected across the league. How did that loss happen?
Offensively, you mean? Yeah. I mean, I think Jordan Love's under a ton of pressure. They've got to get the run game going, but the defense is phenomenal, right? So,
yes.
I think that, ultimately, if you I've talked to so many people within the NFL throughout my career, and a lot of it, you have to have healthy players. You have to, a little bit of it sometimes comes down to luck or the way the ball bounces or this or that. I mean, that was sort of a fluke. I mean, I think we all sat there and we were just sort of stunned by how that ended.
Yeah.
But I think overall the Packers, are going to be just fine once they, you've got Josh Jacobs and who had a quiet week, right, in that game. So it's just, and they talk about how bothered they are by that. So I think the Packers will come out feisty and determined, and maybe that's not such good news for the Cowboys.
Yeah, probably not. And LaFleur was pretty vocal whenever he was talking about, I guess somebody had mentioned we could run the table, we could go undefeated.
Undefeated.
And, yeah, and I do wonder if it was.
Coach. Yeah, no coach ever wants to hear that, right? He's like, he goes, I've said it a lot to the media. Maybe I haven't said it enough to my players. I mean, that's bulletin board material if you ever want it. You do not want them. It's the cliche of cliches, right? In sports, one game at a time, and you hate getting it as an answer. But I mean, you cannot look ahead. You cannot say that.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said the one game at a time, one play at a time thing, because I have so many questions about your job specifically. Kevin, I'm about to dive into this. I told you it was going to happen. Do you ever get the feeling that, like, that 25, 30 seconds that you have, do you ever get the feeling that some of those guys you're interviewing right before the game are nervous?
Okay, so it's funny because we always talk about this, and I say, do we want to do those interviews? Do we want to? And then it's saying, okay, do you want to get Patrick Mahomes in the face of the and it's the star power, and it's almost, does it really even matter what he says? And I say yes. I'd love for them to be more fun, or you get something out of them. But I think no matter what I had asked, I'm just looking back to last week's game, right? And we had the Chiefs.
He gave you the same answer 3 times,
I mean, without a doubt, he might say. So sometimes I say, maybe it's better to get. We had Puka Nacua once, and he was so funny. I mean, I think I asked something about his hair. I don't even know, but it's like it might be more refreshing to not get the face of the franchise or the star. They are definitely so locked in. I remember that with Dak. Was it last year or 2 years ago when I interviewed him pre-kick? And I think it was the first time we'd done it. And they are. I wouldn't say that they're so dialed in already by that point, and we pre-tape that. So let's say, kickoff's about 8:20. We do that as they clear the field at about 7:52 or so.
Oh, okay.
And even then, I mean, you'd think, okay, you're still 30 minutes. You haven't gone back in the locker room and given that final speech or anything. You'd think even then they might be a little more relaxed, but they are totally dialed in.
And then also,
I don't know. I go back and forth. Go ahead.
How is that kind of structured? Do you have, they're like, you got 30 seconds or you got 3 questions? I've always wondered how you handle that.
Okay, so we know for the broadcast that we really don't want to go over 1 minute.
Okay.
So I have 3 questions in mind, and if I'm running long, the producer will say into my ear, wrap it, after 2 questions.
Gotcha.
But I usually say to the player, just so they know, I usually say to the player, hey, 3 quick questions, so that they know, and maybe that makes them too quick in their answers, but you don't want them to just ramble on and on and on. And then that takes me, if you want to know more about my job, then that takes me to the coaches' interviews, which really can't go, I do one going into halftime, and we got to get to the halftime show, and people who don't understand TV, like, you got to get to a break at a certain point, and you've got to get, you have all these things that you need to take care of. So if that goes over about 22 or 25 seconds, they're going to wrap me before the second question. So I was a little bit bummed. I was talking to Brian Dable at the start of the third quarter, and I had to wrap it before I asked him about the Graham Gano kicking situation, so which was a huge factor because he had a groin injury right in pregame warm-up. So I really did want to ask how that was going to affect play calling. They had gone for it on 4th down a lot in the first half. So I didn't get to answer that because sometimes I'll nod my head really fast, like, hey, I want to get to my next question,
Yep.
And sometimes they don't take that hint. But, yeah, I mean, there's, you want to get the information, you want to get that to the viewers, but then there's also the whole TV component and timing, and you don't want the coach talking too long over the play. I had that once, funny enough, with Dan Campbell last year. We taped that interview at the end of, to go into the third quarter, and we always say Dan Campbell's such good TV, let him talk as much as he wants. So I asked the second question. And the producer was so mad at me. He's like, why didn't you wrap that? It's too long. But when we rolled it in, Dan Campbell goes, we need a turnover. And when they rolled it back in, they got a turnover at the exact same time.
Look at that. It's like you were directing
then the producer's like, oh, great job, Melissa. Yeah.
That is, we're talking with Melissa Stark right here on 105.3 The Fan. That is a really fun part about your job, about our job, and I'm using fun very loosely, that you're trying to talk to someone while somebody else is saying a different conversation in your ear at the exact same time. That is that's a challenging skill. Now, I feel like you've really set it up well for us, but I'm hoping you can just go back to this. Can you walk us through the adrenaline that you feel personally being on the sideline with the lights on and when that camera goes on?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked that, and I'm glad you did, because I'm however many years into my career. I started on Monday Night Football when I was 26, so 25 years ago. So I still get, that's why I know the players get it. I mean, I still get that adrenaline and that your heart gets racing, and you don't have the coach can be super angry, as you're going into the half, or some kind of a turnover just happened right before you talk to him, or they wanted me, I knew I had to ask about Travis Kelce getting into it with Andy Reid, and I know the PR staff did not want me to ask that. So it's like it's this whole behind-the-scenes thing of, that definitely gets your heart racing. And I definitely take none of it for granted. It's electric, and there's so much energy, especially a night game under the lights, and everyone's watching, and it's prime time, and I hope that never goes away. I don't think it will.
Now we're talking with Melissa Stark right here on the D&M Leasing Hotline. I wanted to know, I know you said you're getting ready to talk to Micah and some of the other folks during all the pre-production meetings and everything else. Could you or have you found any more players for the Cowboys secondary? Because we could really use some.
Oh, my God. I love it. Well, yesterday I did talk to DaRon Bland, so there you go.
Yeah.
He's going to play, obviously, for sure. I'll check back in with him before. But, I think he thinks, even though he's a soft-spoken guy, he's taken over, right, as a leader on this team. And I think he thinks, it's just a couple communication issues here and there, and that him coming back will make a massive difference. And I'm sure Cowboys fans obviously hope the same.
Well, you might have just broken a little news there, because he was limited in practice yesterday. You said he's definitely going to play?
Well, that's what he told me.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Breaking news right there.
Look at that.
Yep. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah,
yes, it is. We're stoked now.
Absolutely, that is exciting. Now, I understand a lot of the hype on this game is about Micah returning to Dallas, but it's early in the season. This really feels like another game that could define the direction of the season for both of these teams, with Green Bay looking to get back on their kind of favorited status, and the Cowboys really trying to hold on to not letting this season slip away. Is that the way you view it at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a ton on the line, even though it's early in the season. There's so much on the line with this one. And obviously, you guys know this, the Cowboys, I would say, are under the most, other than New York teams, the Cowboys are under the most scrutiny of any team, I would say, out of the 32. But I think, it is so early. But a ton on the line in this one, aside from the Micah situation. And, we're so excited that we have it on NBC. We're so excited we have it in prime time. I mean, how lucky are we when that happened and we looked at the schedule? It's like, that's awesome that we have this game. But I think obviously the Cowboys getting the running game going. I mean, Javonte Williams, I think, he's a guy who has a lot to prove, coming back from injury. And he's like, I know no one really, not that he doesn't, I don't even think he cares about respect, but I think, I talked to him before the kickoff game when we had that game against the Eagles as well. So I think that's a matter of getting the running game going. Dak is Dak. He's just steady. And, but I mean, I think not having CD is, we're going to see. But, I did talk to Jake Ferguson as well yesterday, and obviously he's emerged, and he said, Dak points to me as the guy to bring the physicality, and he always says, I'm the guy who has to bring the juice for the team. And and so I think he relishes that and looks forward to that. He's looking for his first touchdown, as we know. But, the CD factor is, we can't discount that by any means.
Yeah. Well, you brought us amazing insight and also a little bit of breaking news to boot.
Oh, absolutely.
The game.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, thank you very much. 7:20 p.m. Central on NBC and on Peacock. Melissa, you were fantastic. We'd love to have you back anytime.
Thanks for having me. I'm headed to Dallas tonight and to practice tomorrow, so maybe I'll see you guys when I'm out there.
Get a good brisket sando while you're here, all right?
Thank you very much.